There we go. All right, that's all working. Now we just need to make sure that we can see our chat. Close. Well, hopefully somebody shows up today. Should probably put out that I am streaming today. Time to create a post. Yo! Yo, familiar fam. I am streaming today for the new year. Preparing games. And maybe if we have the time, playing some. All right. Boom. All right. Concurrent viewers 0. All right. You know, I probably should do this when I've curated a group, but it's New Year's, guys. So if you're coming back to see this after the fact, then you know what? I that is just as well. Connection is excellent, apparently. That's good to hear. Let's go ahead and view my channel. I prefer to watch it from y'all's point of view. Coming back to see this. All right, there we go. My lighting is so dim. I need to get new lighting, friends. Oh. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Part of me wants to kind of wait to see some people come in before I start really going at it. But I probably should just start now for y'all who might be coming back for the VOD. Maybe I can farm some of the clips off of here for another video. So let's go ahead, and you're going to get to see how I prepare a game. And I'm actually going to be preparing the guts for 4 different games, because tomorrow I am going to be doing a session 0 with my fiance's some of her family members. It's been a while since I've ran for a new group of people. It's going to be interesting. So if you notice here, I am in a program called Notion.io. I have talked about it frequently in some of my previous videos. This is a tool that is used by Mike Shea from Sly Flourish. This is his template, the Lazy RPG campaign template. And that is what I'm going to duplicate here and bring all the way up here to current games I'm running. Princes of the Calamity are actually no longer a game that I am running. So that needs to be pulled down to old adventures. Acquisitions Incorporated is going to be pulled down to old adventures as well, because I don't know if and when I'm going to get to run that. Dragonlance never happened. So we're going to put that in work in progress. Who knows? I might actually just delete that. I think that was for a video that I never ended up doing. What's this doing here? Did I already make one of these? I probably did. So it doesn't seem like I needed to duplicate that again. But you get to see how it's done. But we're going to delete this duplication. I think I already made this one for my upcoming game. You'll see that I've had to really organize these things, and I still feel like it's a just absolute disaster. But and I do have some show notes here. This is for a video that I'm going to do in the future. It's a little project that I'm trying to learn from. I think that you all will get a very good, how would I put it? Insight from it. There we go, for lack of a better word. Good insight from that. So let's go ahead and jump into our lazy RPG campaign template, number 1. And this is going to be renamed to, what do we want to do it as? Potential games. This will have to be changed later when they decide. With family. Oh, didn't mean to do that. This is all stuff that I always just delete. So, because these are just updates, he hasn't updated in a while. He hasn't needed to. I mean, this template is amazing after all. So, we're going to go ahead and delete all that. I don't ever keep the dice roller. Here's a templates change log that he does, ranging all the way back to August of 2020. But we're going to delete all of that as well. I don't need any of that. I do not need the session notes template sample. So I'm going to delete that. Characters, NPCs, locations, villains, items, campaign database. I might go ahead and keep some of those. Single page lazy DM prep template. I'm not going to use that. Oh, did I add this to it? I did. So this is something that I added to my template. He doesn't usually he's not the one who put that there. You can edit these templates yourself and duplicate them however you wish, which is so nice. I use them for so many things. Sly Flourish is really, his note system has changed my life. But we're going to go ahead and do the session 0 notes section. And I'm going to show you something cool that I've done. I need to duplicate this a few times. Duplicate. I think about 4 times. I need to have 4 versions of it. All right. So there's a reason I have 4 versions of this, because I am giving my players options for 4 different games. And I have found a way to make it so much easier to prep all the early details for this. And it's because the future is here with artificial intelligence. So we are going to, in a second, pull up, well, I already have ChatGPT open. So let's go ahead and pull it to that. we're going to start with the Tyranny of Dragons pitch. You can kind of see what I've done here. So we're going to scroll all the way to the top. This is the first one I did. And you'll notice that under the session 0 notes, there's this thing called the campaign elevator pitch. So knowing that I needed to do several of these darn things, decided to enlist the help of AI, because I have no clue what these players are going to want to play. We're going to do our session 0 tomorrow. I'm going to have to get myself some more water at some point. And so I wanted to give 4 different options. 3 of them, I believe, are finished at this point. Let's see. Tyranny, Curse of Strahd, Dragonlance, and okay, so I'm going to need 5 overall, because there's one more I'm going to do. Mainly because I want to do it as an example. But let's close that real quick. Let's see. Okay, you can see it. At the top here, I wrote, help me write a 1-paragraph campaign elevator pitch for the D&D adventure Tyranny of Dragons. The elevator pitch should give the main idea of what quest the players are embarking on. Of course, I completely screwed that up, but you know what? ChatGPT doesn't care. It understands what I was saying. And should be written in a way that highlights the aspects of the campaign that may excite the players. So I think it did a pretty good job. You can hear it read aloud.
Embark on a high-stakes adventure in Tyranny of Dragons, where you and your party stand as the last line of defense against the apocalyptic rise of Tiamat, the five-headed dragon goddess. The cult of the dragon is amassing power, forging sinister alliances and spreading terror across the land as they seek to summon their dark queen into the mortal realm. From infiltrating cult strongholds and unraveling ancient secrets, to battling iconic dragons and rallying allies in epic battles, your journey will test your courage, cunning, and resolve. Will you rise to become the heroes the realms so desperately need, or will the world be consumed by the tyranny of dragons?
And there it is. It doesn't need to be like the most amazing thing. And sometimes I think that this tool specifically is best used for pre-generated adventures because ChatGPT already knows, because it's connected to the internet, a lot of the pre-generated adventures it is already able to review. So this will be the quickest to do this with. But I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And we're going to go back to my little Notion page. Also, I should probably put some music on. I meant to do that. It's nice to have a little bit of calm music in the background. You'll recognize some of these from my videos. I use the Critical Role music that is free for people to use in streams. So thanks to them. You'll also notice some World of Warcraft in there. I'm a big fan of WoW. Maybe at some point I'll stream doing that. But all right, so we copied that. We're going to go back to our session 0 notes, and we're just going to go ahead and paste that right in there. Embark on a high-stakes adventure in Tyranny of Dragons. This is all stuff that I'm going to be showing my players. I'm going to do it this way at first, but I actually am going to be printing out papers. This isn't how I need to do this. This is good for notes and stuff, but I don't really need this for myself. I need it on a sheet of paper that I can print. So let's see. All right. And then you'll notice that it says 6 campaign truths in the previous Notion page. What are 6 things you want your players to know? Well, the 6 things, I had it write them for me once again. So let's see how it did. The Cult of the Dragon is everywhere. The Cult of the Dragon is an expansive and secretive organization with agents embedded in every layer of society. Their goal is to bring back Tiamat, the 5-headed dragon goddess, into the mortal realm. And they'll stop at nothing to see their plan succeed. This is dragons rule the sky. There's going to be a lot about dragons. This takes place in the Sword Coast. Good. Power comes at a price. Magic alliances and artifacts may grant you great power, but all come with risks. Choices made in pursuit of strength may have far-reaching consequences, some that extend beyond the battle against Tiamat. Allies and enemies are everywhere, and the stakes are apocalyptic. I think I did a pretty good job. So we're going to copy this. And we're going to go ahead and go back to Notion. Matter of fact, we can actually just delete that. Delete those. And boom. We have that in there. This next part is really, really nice. Especially if it's a pre-setup campaign. And I'll show you one where it's not pre-set up, because I have another campaign that is a possibility among the list. I didn't know there's arrows on those. That's cool. So who or what are the 3 major drivers in this campaign? Often these are villains. Create villain cards for each. Add a major goal for each villain and 3 sub-goals that take them to that goal. You have villain card number 1, Severin Solargen. Title, The Red Worm Speaker. He wants to unite the cult of the dragon, solidify control over the fractured sects of the cult. He wants to rally the dragons and gather the dragon masks. I think that's pretty good. As far as what I've read from Tyranny of Dragons, that is correct. All right, so what we're going to do is put that there. It deletes that. Now, one of the things you still want to make sure to read your book, because I'm not going to use all of these. I only want 3 major villains. Severin is like the main one. Now, Rezmir is obviously, he's part of this. He's got the Black Dragon mask and blah, 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 blah. But I only care about one of them because I basically stick these 2 together. Tiamat, on the other hand, I will go ahead and grab hers up. And you'll notice that I wanted to make sure that Rathmodar was accounted for, because I want there to be 3 unique, slightly unique storylines going on here, crisscrossing between each other. Because if you will notice, or if you remember, some of you who might have watched a previous Dungeon Master experience, it talks about the intersecting of different arcs. And I want to make sure that I put these things in there. They may change over time. It's not going to be perfect. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. I don't want to go to Discord. Go away, Discord. I don't want you up right now. Alright, so we're going to go back here. But yes, here we go. Rathmodar. High Necromancer of Thay, traitor to Saz-Tam. I wanted to make sure that he got in there. No, it's actually, they made more details for Rathmodar, and I think he's a really interesting aspect. You know, I'm excited about the homebrew campaign that I was writing for this group. But all of these campaigns excite me in their own way. So here we go. We got villain card 3. Not 4, 3. Rathmodar. So here we go. Got our conflict hooks. Wrath double dealing may lead to cracks in the Cult of the Red Wizard Alliance. All sorts of good stuff here. Teaches you more about your villains. One of the big things about being able to improvise in a game is having enough to improvise off of. So it's really like background knowledge that you want to understand. This is how I'm going to be running my future games. Is less about precisely exactly what path my players are going to take, but instead having the knowledge to let them veer off of paths. I might have ideas as to where things might go, but ultimately the game should be led by how you think events will play out and how they'll change. You don't want to get too married to anything, because then it really kind of just throws a stick in the spokes, and it's too stressful a way to play the game, I've found, and I really want to move on from that. We got our patrons and factions, so it's been really helpful there. The Harpers, the Gauntlet, the Enclave, the Lord's Alliance, the Zentarum, the Arcane Brotherhood. What brings the characters together? A shared enemy. Each character has a personal or factional reason for opposing the Cult of the Dragon, whether it's to protect the realms, gain wealth, seek vengeance, or thwart Tiamat's rise. Call to action, fate and prophecy, a patron's request, mutual goal. These are all things that you're going to want to have layered out early on to understand. So once again, we're going to just copy paste that. This has all been super easy for me, and I'm going to have to lay this out in a very quick and easy way for people to understand. A lot of this uses systems that I have learned over the years. Really great systems. So we're going to go ahead and delete that. Delete that. So there we go. We got our patrons and factions. I do have some house rules that it offered me. Now I'm going to go ahead and look through them and make some decisions. Let's see. Let's go back here. So it's giving me a list of fun house rules. That's what's kind of nice. Like, so if you're having a hard time, you want to find some house rules, GPT is going to go online and basically find all the interesting house rules that players can use. Now, I'm probably just going to do this for each one I didn't go into my other chat systems for GPT on other games and do this because I really only need to do it once. Players can add dramatic flair to their attack, spells, or skill checks. If the narration impresses the table, they gain a +1 bonus to the roll. I don't know how to feel about that one. Heroic inspiration. Players can earn inspiration not just for role-playing, but for heroic or hilarious moments, clever ideas, or solving problems in creative ways. I want to encourage players to be creative. I want players to feel like they can do what they want, essentially. I'm trying to lean into being a little more, how would I put it, free and open with how my players do things. I'm really, really tired of feeling like I need to control things. Now the question is, so I think that I really like this rule, but I don't want to run it for new players. I might run this across my older players. Critical hit boost. This was something that was in one of the games I played in. Princes of the Apocalypse is one of the few games I've actually got to play through. When players roll a critical hit, they add maximum damage from the weapon / spell in addition to rolling the dice. So you just, whatever dice you would roll, it's just going to be maximum damage, and then you roll dice like normal and add whatever you roll to it. This makes certain that critical hits are always like really good. The problem is that this is kind of one of those things you want to give to the enemies as well if you're doing this, because otherwise things feel underwhelming. Problem is that if you give this to the enemies and they crit, it can be very unforgiving. And for new players, I don't know if I really want to do that, but I think that I might do that for my older players. I like the idea of failing forward. This is more of a philosophy than a, how would I put it, a house rule. Instead of outright failure on ability checks, players succeed, but with a complication, e.g. you pick the lock, but make noise alerting nearby enemies. I think that it's probably good to say that this is a philosophy that you're using. So we will go ahead and make this a, let's see. Let's go ahead and do this. We're just going to make these checklists. Not checklists, but little bullet points. I think that'll be easier. So I think that it would be nice to let my players know that in general, my feeling is that I want failure forward. I don't want the game to slow down. I want the game to always be moving. I think that's an important philosophy to live by. We're here to have fun, not be a stickler to the rules in every single case. Magic Surge, Chaos. I don't like this. Casting a spell of a level higher than your proficiency bonus triggers a Wild Magic Surge. Not just for sorcerers. That's stupid. You know, just every time you get to level 20, you know, even if you get to level 20, okay, well, the max you can roll is 6th level without having a surge. Like, no, thank you. That might be interesting if tweaked with, but I don't really care. Keep that for the sorcerer. Level up downtime perks. When leveling up, characters gain a unique perk such as crafting an item, gaining a contract, gaining a contact, or learning a skill during downtime. I need to think about that one. That's one that like you need to systematize and understand before you're like actually willing to jump in, because how do you allot that stuff? Progression is something that is a chestnut for me, because if you allow progression to go too quick, then your characters are just going to stack a whole bunch of new things. 5e is already so strong as it is for players that they really don't need more help than they've already got oftentimes. But I do like the system. This is something that they use in Adventurers League. So I guess what I could do, you know what? This is all about learning, so we're going to put this in. Adventurers League uses this. I've played in Adventurers League before, years and years ago, and I would like to get back to that one day so that I can play So we'll go ahead and do that. So level up downtime perks. So they already have a system that I can just go ahead and steal. I can't remember what that is. Matter of fact, actually what I could do, scroll to the bottom here. This is what's so nice about ChatGPT. I want to use the level up downtime perks, but I don't know how the system works. How does downtime accrue? Is that AK? Accrue? Get earned. How about that? How does downtime get earned and spent in D&D Adventurers League rules for let's do in current. So I think that GPT, like, it has its drawbacks and it has its bonuses. I think that any tool can be used valuably and can be used poorly. I think GPT has plenty of opportunity to really help you with some of the granular stuff. So here we go. Some of the things that like really just take up your time that you don't want to have to take up your time on. The current Dungeons & Dragons Adventurers League rules Season 13 Plus downtime is a resource that players earn during gameplay and can spend on various activities between adventures. Here's a breakdown of how downtime works, blah, 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 blah. Players earn 10 downtime days per 2-hour adventure or module completed. Longer adventures grant more downtime, e.g. a 4-hour session typically grants 20 days. Well, I mean, that's the same scale. By advancing levels, players receive additional downtime days when they gain a level. The amount is equal to their character's level times 10, e.g. leveling to level 5 grants 50 downtime days. Story rewards or quests. Some adventures and dungeon masters, or just DM's discretion, can grant bonus downtime as part of the rewards for completing specific objectives. So that might be like, oh, if you go in this direction, you could get some more downtime days if you take this side quest. Spending them and crafting items. Players can craft non-player or non-magical items or potions. Carousing. Players spend downtime carousing and networking, potentially earning contacts or minor rewards. Training. Downtime can be spent learning a new language or tool proficiency. This requires 250 days and 250 gold pieces. Okay, so that's pretty good. I like that because like the training part of it, learning a new language or proficiency or tool, is an incredibly powerful thing. That was one of my main concerns is like, what if this player is trying to, and you know, all more power to them, but I have to think about balance here, guys. But what if they want to, you know, get proficiency in literally every dang skill? Like how quickly can they do that? Wizards can spend downtime and gold to copy spells into the books. That's a good one for wizards. Gives a system to it. I like it. Recuperating players can recover from long-term effects such as diseases or injuries. That's something that like you had to think about how that works. I would like that in my more advanced games if I can do it properly. Buying and selling magic items. Research. Characters can investigate a specific topic, gaining valuable insights for the campaign. And so with new players, if you're like a DM playing for new players or running for new players, these are all things that you can briefly go over and say, hey, you know, like running a business, research, buying, selling magic items, recuperating. But the details are there for you. So if they make the choice, you use the details that you know to go ahead and run that for them. Don't go and explain the whole dang thing. It's going to bore them. They don't need to know everything. That's the best way to run for new players in general, is to teach them as they go. You don't need to front load them with the whole book. Downtime and level up downtime perks. Gaining perks while leveling up characters can spend downtime days to earn specific perks. For example, combat training, crafting, faction advancement. There's some systems I really like for faction advancement in Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. I need to really spend some videos highlighting some of the most amazing systems and how to use them, because honestly, I love them, but they can be complicated to run outside of Ravnica. But AI would help you a whole lot in producing these things. Cost perks, role-playing opportunities. Use downtime perks to roleplay. For instance, training with a master fighter could lead to a side quest, or researching an ancient spell might unveil new plot lines. I think that's an interesting direction to go. There's also some custom systems for homebrew, downtime stuff. But yeah, this gives you an idea of like what you can do with this. This is what GPT I think is the most useful for, is helping you prep your systems and giving you ideas. So we're going to scroll back up. Where were we? Oh yeah, we were looking at rules. So yeah, we're putting level up downtime perks. Potions as a bonus action is a given for me. That's just how it's... I cannot imagine going in any other direction, and I believe that's in the 2024 rules. I'm still going to put it in here to let players know that that is a thing that they can do. Where is... Scroll back up. Villains, overview. Aha. I want this as heading 1. Then I want to... I'm having a hard time noticing these. So we're going to put this as red. And we're going to underline it. I need to do that for every single one of these, so I know where everything's divided. It's really good to make sure you know where everything's divided. All right, there we go. So when you're searching through all your stuff, you're not getting confused as to where you are. That's what I love this system. All right, boom. Potions is a bonus action. That is a given. Let's see what else is there. Death save awareness. Death saves are rolled secretly. No, thank you. Safe long rest. Players only benefit from long rest. That is better for a long-term group that agrees to it. Milestone leveling is what we are doing. I do not like XP leveling. Some people may like it. Maybe if you do, please let me know how you go about doing that, because I never liked it. My biggest problem, because I tried it, was that I had one hell of a time getting my players to track their experience themselves. It left me doing another piece of work that I really just did not care to do. Clear flanking rules. We're going to use flanking. Although I'm going to be a little more careful about how that's ruled. In my current group, my veteran group, I feel like it gets abused too much, where basically everybody but one person gets flanking. I don't know. It's weird. I have problems with D&D combat. I find it oftentimes gets boring. Skill challenge flexibility. Let players propose skill checks that fit their creative approach rather than forcing specific ones. I think that it's good to just say, hey, like, you can suggest when you say that you want to do something, you want to be like, hey, I want to use this skill. Do you think that would be cool? You may not always agree with it. You may say, nah, go ahead and use this. But I try to err on the side of agreeing with the player's direction. See, combination rules. Critical success on skills. Rolling a natural 20 on skill leads to extraordinary success, even bending the rules for reality slightly. I don't know. Luck points. This is something I use already. I really, really like it. It's basically you start with inspiration. You get to reroll once per day. This is if you're running for new players, this is something you're going to want to remind them about. You're going to be like, hey, you still have your luck point, and you just failed that thing. I can tell you're exasperated. Do you want to go ahead and use your luck point to see if you can succeed on that? That's what it's nice for, especially if you're running with new players. Make sure they know they have it. Dynamic initiative. Initiative reroll. Nope, that is... that would make me want to die. Dynamic initiative. Rerolling at the start of each... Oh, no. You would have to have something that systematizes that for you and takes, like, literally no time. Otherwise, you're spending 10 times more time on your encounters. Environmental boons. Players can find small temporary advantages in the environment. I don't feel like this is a house rule. This is more of something like, as a DM, you want to give information that allows your players to feel like they have options in combat, that they can use their imagination. I think one of the ones that Matt Mercer talked about in Campaign 3 was when one of the characters used some rope to like jam something up in these gears, and he hadn't really thought about it. But that's really comes into encounter and map design and description design. Make sure to describe. I would say really give rich room descriptions when you're doing one that's like an encounter room, because you may not know what your players are going to do with it. Also, leave room for them to be like asking if there is something going on. So I'm going to put environmental boons in there just to say, hey, like, if you want to ask me if something's in there, I might say yes. So if you have an idea and it's like feasible that this item is in there, I might go ahead and say yes, and you could use it. Like, are there chains on the ceiling? And I think, you know what? Yeah, there are chains. What do you do with that? Like, try to keep things interesting. Your players are going to come up with ideas that you're not going to. It's just a matter of fact. Because you're only one person in a group of several people. Combat momentum. If a player defeats an enemy on their turn, they get a bonus action to encourage exciting combos and faster combat resolution. That sounds interesting. Fast travel encounters. During long journeys, players face many challenges such as surviving a storm and negotiating with travelers that allow character skills to shine without bogging down pace. I already have a system for traveling that I kind of want to do. This hex crawl that kind of goes into some of this. This is kind of like DM discretion type stuff that I don't really see as a house rule. This, I want to try this out mainly because I want to encourage player interaction. So I really like encouraging players to interact with other players in combat, out of combat, whatever it is, you need to interact with each other. It shouldn't be up to the DM to constantly prompt you to do things. That has always been something that has bothered me when I run a game, is having to constantly prompt people to role play, or not even just role play, but advance the story forward. Something that I am consistently trying to remedy, and that's the big thing that my players in this next game are going to have to understand, is that this game is based off of what they want to do. So whatever their player is interested in, they need to go ahead and take the time to do that. It is up to me as a DM to throw wrenches in their engines and really change things up as they move along. But it is up to them how they respond to it, not up to me whether or not they choose to respond. One of my least favorite things as a DM is sitting there like, all right, what do you guys want to do? And just crickets. I hate the crickets. All right. So we have our patrons. We have our character options and house rules. So we got some nice house rules here. He He does have a section here for safety tools. I don't really need to go into more detail with the safety tools with GPT. This is already a thing here, but if you wanted to, you could type it into ChatGPT and say, I need some safety tools to discuss with my players. And GPT is almost certainly going to be linking Consent in Gaming by Monty Cook Games. Like, this is the most popular system for people to use. But at the end, there's also campaign inspiration. Now, this is generally something that you're going to bring yourself, but I wanted some inspiration from GPT. I wanted to know, what in the world does GPT think would be inspiring to this? So I put that in. What books, artwork, music, movies, and TV shows could help inspire the campaign? I'm not really... I don't know. Artwork is a little weird. But like The Hobbit, Song of Ice and Fire, Dragonlance Chronicles, The Earthsea Cycle, Ursula K. Le Guin, for you bookies. Oh, so good, so good. I will listen to all these on audiobook. I also own a big old copy, which is lying somewhere around downstairs here. I think it's on a different shelf, or else I would show it off to you. I've never heard of The Black Company by Glenn Cook. For darker themes of mercenary groups caught up in a larger conflict, powerful godlike beings, I might look into that. So I think that for people who like getting into books, if you're not a bookie, skip this section. Just don't even worry about it. If you're not into reading, which I find strange, is if you're a D&D player that you don't like reading, or DM. But you know what? To each their own. I would skip this if you don't like reading. Artwork, Larry Elmore and Clyde Caldwell, classic D&D artist. I do actually kind of like this suggestion. I do like harkening back to the art styles and feelings of old D&D. Some people don't like that old way. I think it's kind of cool. Alan Lee, so good. Music's Two Step from Hell, Jeremy Soule. These are probably all good to like put into your game. Hans Zimmer, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dark Knight, Adrian von Ziegler creates medieval and Celtic inspired music. So this, I would say keep music in, because if you want to like get suggestions for music to run during your games, GPT will definitely do that. And I just noticed that I'm kind of blocking a bit of this screen, so let's go ahead and do this, like, just so you can see it a bit better. I don't want to take up all the space there. My big beautiful mug. I do see that I have somebody watching, so if you're here, always feel free to say hi. I won't bite. I'm here for you all, and if you have any questions, like, don't be afraid to ask. The Hobbit trilogy, yeah, I would say that's probably good. Lord of the Rings, I mean, just classic fantasy. Reign of Fire, I don't know what this is. A modern twist on dragons as apocalyptic threats. I need to look that up. How to Train Your Dragon. I think that kind of like... I'll have to look into that. I haven't watched How to Train Your Dragon in a long time, and my fiance is really a big fan of it. So I might have to rewatch that. Honor Among Thieves, like, yeah, that was a good movie. I think some of these are things that, like, if your players haven't watched them and they're, like, actually interested in D&D, I would almost more want to suggest to them to watch Honor Among Thieves to kind of, like, inspire them for the playing. The Dark Crystal and the Labyrinth. One of my DMs, somebody who's DM'd for me and somebody I've DM'd for, who's, like, a second mom to me, has been wanting me to watch The Dark Crystal for a long time, and I probably should, and I've never watched Labyrinth either. Game of Thrones, The Witcher, Avatar. Character development arcs are so good in Avatar. Dragon's Dogma, Critical Role. They really should... Something I need to add here is video games. I have a player and a friend who wants me to play Cyberpunk 2077, and I've started playing it. I'll have to stream it on another channel if y'all are interested, but I don't know how many people are going to show up in this video. But all right, so this is the limit of what I need really for Notion. But there are other systems that I have learned that are incredible. And let's see, I needed 10 different origin stories that would link the players to both the campaign and the world. So because I have new players, and you can do this with your experienced players too, because they might say, oh yeah, no, I like that idea, and I might want to play with it and link it into the game. This gives them more of an idea as to like what they're looking for. One of the biggest problems that I've noticed as a DM when like running a game really is linking your players to the world. It needs to feel like they're part of the campaign, that they actually have a stake in this. Because if they don't, it's nearly impossible to move them along. And the step after this that I am using from a book I've read, and if I have it near me, I do. If you're in the D&D space, you might have seen some videos on this. Ginny D does the foreword for this book, but Proactive Role-Playing is an incredible book, and I need to do a video on it. I'm going to go into the concept of playing evil characters, because it actually links in and is talked about in Proactive Role-Playing as to like why people like playing evil characters, and ultimately it's because you get to be proactive. So I would highly recommend this book. And I think this if you really onboard this, then your players will actually enjoy playing good aligned characters more, and you'll be able to run your games better because it gives your players the ability and direction to run their characters based off of what their characters and they want to do. Like, it's really about like, what are your motivations? What is your player's motivation? And how does the world interact with it? How do the motivations of your factions interact with the motivations of your players? And when you really get that on board, I believe, and I haven't really gotten an opportunity to really push this because I've just finished a 3-year campaign where I didn't have all this kind of information, but I really do think that this is going to help out a lot. Apparently it did for Ginny D. She runs a lot of games, and I kind of trust a lot of her judgment on these things. And so if you have a chance, get Proactive Role-Playing. But what I'm doing here links into this book. And so let's go ahead and take a look at it. So yeah, I said give me 10 different origin stories that link the players both to the campaign and the world. Create a mix of options where the player characters either from the introductory town of Greenest or from another city or town that could fit into the campaign. Use the villainous and allied factions as inspiration as well. I want them to be linked to this world. I want the villains to be a problem for them. I want the allied forces to be an inspiration and a help to them. These are things that need to be baked into your characters, is that they have connections that will constantly and continuously make them want to be part of the adventure. I think that this is the most important part of the entire running of a game, preparing it. The prep for a series or a campaign is potentially the most important part of the whole damn campaign. It will make or break things, make your life so much easier if you can get these parts down. So I would definitely, out of everything I've done here, if you didn't do everything before this, I would do this alone. Not that the rest of this isn't like really, really good and would make your life a whole heck of a lot easier as a DM. But this is like the creme de la creme information, in my opinion. So 10 origin stories for Tyranny of Dragons. And I do 10 because it gives players options to look through. Greenest local hero. So you start in Greenest. You were born and raised here, a quiet but prosperous town on the Sword Coast. Your family runs a small business, or you served as town guard. When the cults of the dragon attacked, you stood your ground to protect the people you love. Connection to the campaign. You know Greenest intimately and have a personal stake in defending it and uncovering why the cult targeted your home. This is classic, call to adventure. That's another thing that is kind of like a personal project of mine that I may eventually do a video on, is the concept of the hero's journey and putting that in your campaign. But that's something I'm still working on. Harper's recruit. Background: a traveling Harper agent. Recognized your potential during a brief encounter in a distant city. You've since been trained in the art of espionage and resistance, tasked with uncovering and undermining the cult's dragon's schemes. Campaign connection to campaign. Sent to Greenest on a reconnaissance mission. You are caught in the middle of the cult's raid. Must act to protect the town and its secrets. I like this. You know, at first I was kind of like, I don't feel like this has enough connection, like direct, intimate connection. But no, you don't always have to. Sometimes it's just part of your missions. You know, you can kind of come up with your own background as to why you are working with the Harpers, and you could say that there's more interest in the whole concept of, you know, dealing with dragons from that. Oh, I'm really gonna have to take a break here shortly to go grab water. At least give me a couple minutes after this. Refugees from Elturel. You fled from the city of Elturel when tensions began rising due to strange cult activity. I need to look into like how that links. It seems interesting. Ex-Zhentarim agent. He once worked with the Zhentarim, so this is generally probably a rogue. But really, I feel like you can link these with any character class. Really, it's just your imagination. So the Zhentarim do end up working with the Cult of the Dragon, and maybe like the character doesn't like that. So, you know, you saw the Cult of the Dragon's plans are as too dangerous and left, betraying your former employer. That's a nice little link to it, and being like, oh, it may be the, you know, you gotta, I think one of the big things is like creating family, friends, connections, understanding who and what is affected by this world. Surviving a dragon attack. You know, maybe they're trying, yes, he's hoping for answers or vengeance. Emerald Enclave Initiate. You know, Balance of Nature, cults plans to summon Tiamat, threatening the natural order. That's a good one. You were tracking strange disturbances in the wilderness near Greenest when the cult raid began. Ultimately, like, it needs to be part of your mission. Escaped Red Wizard Apprentice. I think that's so cool, being part of, like, escaped Red Wizard individual. Outcast from Baldur's Gate, so political entanglements, criminal connections, or falling out with a faction. This can link you to the situation going on in the cities. Ex-cultist seeking redemption. Orphan of the Dragon Horde. As a child, you were found abandoned near a dragon's lair filled with treasure. The only survivor of a bloody raid, rescued by adventurers. You grew up hearing tales of dragons and their destructive power. This is all, I think, pretty good. This gives you an idea. It doesn't give you too much, actually. That's what I kind of like about it. It gives you some templates to go based off of, and then you can go from there. It's generally what I like about generative AI, is giving you templates to base off of, so you don't constantly have to, like, tax yourself being, all right, what part would link to this? What would link to that? And instead this gives you it, and then you can say, well, how do I go further? All right. So, the next part. This is what links us into proactive role-playing. And I pulled these questions straight out of there. For each of these, give a response to the following questions. What is a long-term goal this character has? 2, what is a midterm goal this character has? It doesn't have to be world-shattering, but it needs to be important to them and difficult to accomplish. What are 2 short-term goals that would help the character work toward that midterm goal? And finally, what are 2 or 3 obstacles that stand in the way of the character achieving each of those short-term goals? Could any of them be encounters? So, like, defending Greenest and transform it into a secure haven against future threats. This is kind of like, you need to defeat the Cult of the Dragon to stop them from destroying everything. This is, I think I'm not a big fan of this interpretation. I might need to figure out how to change this up, because this actually feels too short-term, all of this. Rallying local leaders and townfolk to rebuild the town's defenses and form a militia. This isn't proactive enough to get you out into the world. That's something I need to, like, work on. So, unfortunately, GPT isn't always perfect. Expose and dismantle the Cult of the Dragon's operation across the Storm Coast. Perfect long-term goal for this. Infiltrate and gather critical intelligence. Perfect midterm goal. Short-term goals. Gain the trust of a mid-level cult member or leader. Find a way to communicate covertly with Harper allies while undercover. Perfect. Trust issues. Perfect. Secrecy. Monitors members and any communication attempt risks exposure. I think this Harper Recruit one is absolutely gold. This is all stuff that is part of the campaign. The long term keeps you through the whole thing. Ultimately, like, the long term here should be attached to maybe there's like some curse that happens because of it. I don't know. Something that links the hero to having to face the bad guys. Maybe, yeah. Basically, Tiamat. And this, if you wanted to link it to something, it's kind of like Star Wars. You know, the hero is Luke Skywalker. Tiamat is the Death Star. That's how I would interpret this. So, and you kind of get the point. So it gives you a short-term goal. Oh God, I need to really get some water. I'm having a hard time speaking here. But it gives you your long-term, medium, short-term goals, obstacles. These are all things that are really good, and you can continue to use this to like really refine things. So if you're not happy with something, or you're trying to be a bit more customized, you can still ask it for ideas. And so you might have like an idea and go into it, but you're having like really hard time ironing it out. You can give GPT ideas of your own and have it go based off of that, which is what I did for another game I'm going to run. So let's go ahead, and speaking of that, let's move to that, because this isn't just useful for pre-generated campaigns. So I think that this is most useful for pre-generated campaigns. But we're going to go to D&D Game Assistance here, collapse that again. And I used the same system, except I gave a description. So I started with, I will be needing some help with organizing and generating content for a D&D game I am crafting. I will feed what information I have written up as reference. And got it. I will share whatever you've got. So this is what I wrote down for everything. The game begins in the real world. The players will agree on what nation and city/city suburbs the game begins in. The players start as normal people living, I have so many typos, out their lives, and are either from the city or are foreign. In the first session, strange events start occurring. Some animals become beasts from fantasy worlds, and everything and everyone else start merging with this fantasy setting. As time goes on, memories even begin changing to fit this new reality. I'm pretty excited about this. I need to turn down my music. Sure, it's not too loud for you all, but it is too loud for me. So we're going to turn down just a little bit. So this is the premise. So you're going to probably want to put a premise in there. What happened? The military has been testing and experimenting in alternate universes when a D20, one of the higher-ups members, accidentally brings in his pocket, gets imbued with the forces they are experimenting with. Later, this individual plays a game and rolls 3 natural 20s in a row. Really cheesy, but you know what? I don't mind that it's cheesy. We're supposed to be having fun here. The D20 then bursts with energy that pulses out from and around the globe. The locations nearest the epicenter change the quickest before moving outwards. The military operative responsible for this event becomes a powerful vampire, reflecting the personality and aspects of Strahd von Zarovich from the D&D adventure The Curse of Strahd, while the CEO of a major arms manufacturer becomes a dragon, reflecting Tiamat and Tyranny of Dragons. Meanwhile, a local religious order crops up as the local priest starts a cult to become a god by sacrificing his followers and potentially the city to hell. Inspired by Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. The adventure and the events of it are all inspired by pre-existing pre-generated D&D adventure modules. I guess some details like the military base is taken over by a man now vampire, becomes the cliffside castle. So you just boom, boom, boom. You just continue to add all of this. Players will start with base stats of 10 and will apply their 1 and 2 along with rolling stats once they reach level 1 in a class. Your class is determined by what you choose to do in the beginning of this game rather than just straight up choosing it before you start. The adventurers also get to choose some interesting things when it comes to their race options. Did I put that in here? This is something that is part of that hero's journey thing I'm trying to incorporate into running D&D games. The adventure, in part, is organized around the concept of the hero's journey which I have written is as follows up to step 6. So I write all that stuff, and then it, updates all the memory. So it knows all the stuff that I just put in, and now I can say what I was doing before. Help me write a 1-paragraph campaign elevator pitch for this adventure. And so, boom.
A routine day in the real world takes a dramatic turn as a catastrophic experiment merges reality with a high fantasy realm, rewriting the rules of existence. As cities morph into fortresses, animals into monsters, and memories warp to fit this new world, you and your friends are chosen by the spirit of adventure itself to restore balance. Pursued by a power-hungry vampire, a tyrannical dragon cult, and a god-aspiring priest, you must rise from ordinary lives to legendary heroes, explore a transforming world, shape your destiny through evolving powers, and battle for the fate of 2 realities, all centered on a mysterious reality-bending D20. Will you save your world or watch it be consumed by chaos?
And so there you go. You can still use the same exact system for your game if you're doing something completely homebrewed. It's not like this is set to only pre-generated campaigns, obviously. So we're going to go back, potential games, and we'll go ahead and put it in here. So, boom, delete that. And I can continue to put everything in here, all the way down. And so this is what I am spending my day doing. We're going to go ahead and pull open. So a lot of this stuff I want to go ahead and put into a file that I can turn into a sheet of paper that I can print out and give to my players. So we're going to go ahead and go here. Oh, I don't want to go there. I want to go here. So, campaign pitch. I want to go ahead and split this, actually. Formats. Columns. I want this to be in a column setting, so that it's all on one page. So now we go back here. Our 6 campaign truths. So I'm just going to copy paste. I'm not going to read a whole bunch out. Kind of show you. I keep trying to go to a different page. So we got our campaign truths. We don't need any of that because that's for my personal use. Patrons and factions. Some of this I need to break down into simpler form. This is based off of, once again, Sly Flourish. He has a quick form. So you know what I'm going to do is actually, for the patrons and factions, give me a quick synopsis that I can share with my players. This should be no longer than 1 paragraph. 1 to 2 paragraphs. So let's go down. Don't need to worry about that part. As the world merges with a high fantasy realm, several groups rise to either oppose or exploit the chaos. At the forefront stands Elminster Omar, a legendary archmage from another world who believes you are imbued with the spirit of adventure, destined to save reality. Though his powers are diminished, his guidance and knowledge may be your best hope. Organizations like the Harpers, covert operatives fighting against tyranny, the Order of the Gauntlet, Holy Warriors, protect the innocent, offer allies in your quest to restore balance. Let's see, is that... How do I feel about that? Probably should keep it low in factions. So this could be like, I don't know, police, local, militia type stuff, Harpers. So, do a new one, but keep Elminster's name out. Just reference him as a mysterious figure. I'm going to do strange and mysterious figure offering help to the players. All right, and I don't need to do the other section because that is to do with the enemies, and I don't need my players to know about the enemies. So, patrons and factions. So you kind of get to know who is good, who is bad. Oh, wait. I want to make sure that this doesn't take up too much space. There we go. Go ahead and bold that. Control A. Now we want to do... So we have the 6 campaign truths. We have our patrons and factions. And... Let's see... House rules. We're going to need our house rules. Well, do we? I feel like I can talk about that outside of that. We go over it, but I want them to get an idea of the game more or less than really worry about that at the moment. Just want to basically show them what is unique about each one of these games so that they can go ahead and choose from them, because that's really what I'm looking for here. Action, Fate, and Prophecy. That's all stuff that I'm not worrying about right now. What brings the characters together? That will be one I put in there. All right. Say 11. Bring it down to 10. And 9. I feel like 9 is a little too small. Gotta figure out. Let's go ahead and format. Single spacing, and then we're going to go ahead and see if we can up that. Any other unnecessary spacing in here? Doesn't look like it, so we're going to have to change it to a 10. And that's essentially what you want to start with. So when you go to your players, you're going to want to start with something basically like this. You got your campaign pitch. Routine day in the real world takes a dramatic turn as catastrophic events emerge reality with a fantasy realm. Blah, 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 blah. What is true about this world? Let's see. Factions. Who your factions are, and what brings you all together. It's essentially what you're looking for. Obviously, you have all the other information that you need in your own note system. You'll go over that, but really what you want your players to see is what exactly makes this adventure intriguing. Mysterious guidance. Mysterious man who recognizes their potential and encourages them to embrace their new destiny. He hints that they are stronger together. I don't need that bit. Common enemy, shared goals. All right. And there it is. Oh, here's to hoping some people will come and join. I might have to switch this over. I think today I want to play some games. But we're going to go ahead and quickly move through this as I go ahead and finish setting up for the rest of these games. So go to potential games. We're also going to put it all in here. Let's rename this one Tyranny of Dragons. Madness of the Multiverse. That's what we'll just call that one for now. Go ahead and delete that. Here. Copy. What's nice about Notion is you can put it on your phone, you can put it on a tablet, any electronic device that can download an app and has internet. You have access to your notes anywhere. That is what I like most about this. So we're going to go to our villains. I do like the villains in here. Part of me is like really interested in running this. Ultimately, I can run this for some other people. So it's not like any of the work I do here is necessarily wasted. And because it's so easy to set up, I don't really mind. So we get all of our little things here. Let's make sure that this is... put that as red. Underscore it just so it's visible. Character options and house rules. We'll go back and grab those from here in Tyranny of Dragons, because those I'm just going to use the same ones. So pull this all. Multiverse of Madness. There we go. Patrons and factions. This will mainly be for my reference. I'll keep that there. Reality draws the characters, blah, 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 blah. Common enemy, elements, risk guidance. Safety tool stays the same. Let's go back here. Copy paste this for future reference. Delete that. That. And there we go. We got some stuff in here. I can take a look at that later if I wish. Always good to have some inspiration going on. Remember, if you're viewing, always feel free to join the conversation. I am always excited to hear from y'all. So that really, I think that sets up most of what I need here. I'm going to create a new page here. And we're going to call it... See, where is it? Page. Character. Options. Background options. And we're going to steal all the stuff for character background stuff that I did here. So I had to give me 10 different origin stories. This one's a little more unique because it's taking place in what's supposed to be the real world. Give me 10 different origin stories that would work to connect them to the ordinary world with jobs, families, and goals that could then be superseded by the fantasy world merging with theirs, which would be inspired in its evolution by what lives they led before. Create a mix of options where the player character is either from the starting city/country or from a foreign land. You have like local EMT, aspiring journalist, foreign exchange student, suburban parent, retired soldier, foreign diplomat's aide, tech startup founder, street artist, professional athlete, bookstore owner. I think these are all really good options. So we're going to go ahead and copy that. We're going to go ahead and delete that. Origin stories. Take that, texts, heading 1. Put that in green and underline it. Hold it. There we go. We got our origin stories. Now we will get our motivations. Motivations. And it really makes it that easy. So I need to do this for the other page as well, but I've set up synopses for literally 2 whole campaigns in no time at all. I guess what I can do, because I'm going to create one more, because if they really want to go down basic, big basic, we're going to do the adventure, either Lost Mines of Phandelver or Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. I've ran both of them. I should probably just do, let's see. So we're going to go ahead and duplicate this one more time. Starter sets. That's what we'll do. So I'm going to go ahead and go our Dragonlance campaign pitch, because that's one I'm doing as well. So we're going to go to a new GPT. I'm going to copy paste that in there. Help me write a 1-paragraph campaign elevator pitch for 3 different each for 3 different D&D adventures. Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. Lost Mines of Phandelver. And then Dragon of Icespire Peak. The elevator pitch should give the main idea of what quest the players are embarking on and should be written without typos. Written in a way that highlights, once again, more typos, aspects. There we go. Campaign that may excite the players. So here we go. Put that in. Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, Lost Mines of Phandelver, Dragons of Icespire Peak. So I'm just going to do all 3 of these. These are all super easy starter adventures. So I'm just going to say, hey, you can choose between, if you want to get real easy, want to go real simple and just do a starter set and move from there. Here are your options. Let's see how good it did. Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. Embark on an epic adventure to the mysterious Stormwreck Isle, where the echoes of ancient dragon battles still ripple through the land. As brave explorers, you will unravel the island's secrets, aid its beleaguered inhabitants, and face the lingering menace of a long-forgotten foe. With powerful dragon lore, thrilling battles, and the chance to shape the island's future. Pretty good. I would say that's pretty good. Dive into the heart of the Sword Coast frontier, where hidden dangers and untold treasures await. In the classic tale of adventure, you'll investigate the disappearance of a dwarven excavation team, protect the town of Phandalin from menacing bandits, and uncover the secrets of the legendary Wave Echo Cave. Perfect. Dragon of Icespire Peak. Step into the wild and frostbitten frontier, where a young white dragon terrorizes the region, and its people cry out for heroes. From battling monsters, threats in remote villages. Basically, I think what I want to do with this is, if I'm going to do the starter sets, I'm going to just do them all together. And I'm going to have them choose where to start. So if they want to start in Stormwreck Isle, they can. And basically, I'll level these up with them. It doesn't have to be one specific direction. And we can take these and tackle them one at a time. Let's go back here. I want to run this with the players choosing which adventure to start with, and then connect between each adventure as long as they continue to want to play. I need 6 campaign truths that involve general conflicts and information about the setting and the world. Let's make sure that I should say what I was typing. Or not. Write me 6 campaign truths. I want this adventure that's 6 general campaign truths. Not truths, truths. These should be the most important aspects of the world / setting and help the players understand the adventures. I want to run these in whatever order the players want, making it into one full adventure. I do believe that this is something that Wizards of the Coast, I thought I heard, are working on, is connecting all 3 of these adventures, which is strange because they just did a Lost Mines of Phandelver long game, which ended up, as far as I understand, flopping. That just wasn't very well received. I do own it. Phandelver and Below. All right, Forgotten Legends and Treasures Await. Yeah, this is a pretty good job. I like this. The land is rich with forgotten lore, from ancient mines of Way of Echo Cave to the ruins scattered across Icespire Peak and Stormwreck Isle. These places hold treasures, secrets, and dangers that can change the course of history for those bold enough to seek them. The world needs heroes. Civilization teeters on the edge of disaster. Its survival dependent on the bravery of a few. Local leaders, desperate villagers, and even powerful factions will look to your party to make decisions that can restore balance or bring further ruin. Every choice echoes across the campaign. The adventures are interconnected, the consequences of your actions shaping the world in profound ways. A dragon defeated in one story may leave a power vacuum that another seeks to exploit, while alliances forged with townsfolk or factions will determine your influence and legacy in the realm. I think that's pretty good. There we go. We got our 6 campaign truths. See, this is how easy ChatGPT makes this entire process. I'll have 5 separate options for adventures for my players tomorrow. Whatever one is most interesting to them, they will get to play. And it didn't take me a crap ton of time to do. I'm just going to directly take this and see what it does. I don't know where this is coming from. Which adventure is Valindra Shadowmantle from? She's not canonically part of Dragonstorm, blah, blah, blah. She can be seamlessly integrated as a major villain to provide a unifying thread or higher stakes for a combined campaign involving dragons and ancient magic. Trying to think. Cryovane was, yeah, that campaign. Nisnar. So basically they skipped the... And the villain for Stormwreck Isle is not really that big of a villain. So I can kind of see why it's skipped Spark Render. Give me one of these for Spark Render as well. Oh, they did 2 of these where Spark Render is a young dragon. I like both of these. That's the problem. Like, see, because Spark Render could end up being a bigger issue if they don't choose to do this one first. I could make Spark Render a blue dragon, like a full-on young blue dragon, rather than a wormling. God, these are both good. I'm half tempted to just steal both of them, and consider it later. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna copy paste both of them and consider it further later. I think this is something I don't need to do fully immediately. Because Spark Render could be a pretty cool... He can be a much cooler villain than he was originally. And you can definitely find more of my thoughts on him in my channel. Let's see. Potential. Let's go back here. And I do kind of like that they added Valendra Shadowmantle, so I'm just going to keep her in there. I do like the idea of kind of thinking on this. It'll be interesting to see how this all goes. I really want to run more games. It'll give me chances to do more content and talk about the things that I learn. All right. So we're going to copy this. And delete those. Boom, patrons and factions are good. I'm quite confident. I don't need to read through all this right now. I think that the gist has gotten pretty consistent so far with what they know about all these. What brings the characters together? Safety tools, I don't need to worry about that right now. House rules, I can pull from the other page. And then we'll see. What does it suggest for these? Could inspire this campaign. Share these with your players and use them for yourself when... I'll just remove that. Video. Oh, it even added video games to it. I'm so glad they added video games to it. I need to remember to do that. Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. Dragon Age series, Divinity Original Sin 2, Dark Souls series. Yeah, copy paste this. I know my fiance's family is a big fan of Skyrim. They're all Xbox people. I've never played Divinity Original Sin, but I would just probably put Baldur's Gate 3 in place of Divinity Original Sin, and you basically get the same idea, but better, actually, to be honest. Like, Baldur's Gate 3 is the synthesis of everything that Larian has done with Divinity. Dark Souls, I need to play more of that. I need to play more Dark Souls. A friend got the first one for me, and I have yet to actually play more. All right, don't need to worry about that. So let's go ahead and go to here. To Tyranny of Dragons, where I put our... There it is. Character house rules. Starter sets. All right, and you kind of get the gist here. So this is what I got to do for all of these, and basically I've already done all the rest, but I'm glad that I had the chance to show in this video precisely how it's done. I mean, you just take these questions that you see me put. I need to do, actually, there's one more I need to do for character options. That's it. Because how could I forget that? Let's do our character options page and go through the process of adding those before we move on to doing something maybe different. Maybe we'll play some games today. Character options and backgrounds. So let's go back here to GPT. We're going to go to my Tyranny of Dragons pitch. It has the questions in here, and I don't feel like I'll have to edit it a little bit. Give me 10 different origin stories that would link the players to both the campaign and the world. Create a mix of options where the player characters, either from the introductory towns. Let's do this. Or from another city or town that could fit into the campaign. Also use the pre-generated character options from the original starter sets. And what was there's the 2 starter sets. I'm trying to remember what Dragon of Icespire Peak was the Essentials kit. All right. So, give me 10 different origin stories that would link the players to both the campaign and the world. Create a mix of options where the player character is either from the introductory towns or from another city or town that could fit into the campaign. Also use the pre-generated character options from the original starter sets and essentials kits. Character options. Origin. Hold on. Background stories. Original starter sets and essentials kit. Crafting these, use the villainous and allied factions as inspiration as well. Let's see what it crafts for me. All right, it's Harper in disguise. An undead thrall under Valindra's control, kept alive only by her magic. When her forces left you for dead, a chance encounter with a cleric freed you. Now you hunt her down, determined to prevent her from enslaving others and to confront your grim past. That's interesting. Young Smith in Neverwinter, you were trained to craft weapons and tools. Stories of Echo Cave, forged with spells, piqued your curiosity, and when words, blah, blah, blah. So some of these are kind of like presume that you're going to start in Wave Echo Cave. Or not in Wave, in Lost Mines of Phandelver. Noble of Waterdeep. See, Cursed Protector of the Isle. Bound to the Stormwreck Isle by your family curse, tied in an ancient dragon battle. You can never leave the island. That's not good. I'm gonna fix this up. These should be able to move through all 3 option campaign directions. Rather than completely tying them to one of 3. Yeah, because I don't like the idea that, one of these character options are literally cursed to be on the island. Like, no. That would be nice if that's where they started. But that's not where they're starting. All right. So this seems a bit better. So I can place some of these MacGuffins basically wherever the heck I want and trail them along however I feel like. I have a personal mission to ensure the dragon Cryovane does not establish a permanent lair, which would cause an unnatural freeze in the ecosystem. I'm going to have to personally change some of these up. Myself. Compound order to Gauntlet. Lich working in the shadows, urging you to prevent a catastrophe. I like this one. I might even just go through and grab specific ones and remove others. Because this one, Temple of the Gauntlet Pilgrim, is good because there's options in multiple campaigns that can link with all this. Stormwreck Survivor. It's tied to the Regent's Dragon activity. Disillusion Zhentarim Agent. That one works because of what I know with Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. That can also work with Nesnar. Orphan of the Dragon War. All right. Yeah, okay. These ones are better. Artisan of Silt. What? Silt Pass. Why the heck is it using Silt Pass? That's one of mine. Why is it using that? redo this, but give me something for 8 that is part of that will link specifically with. It's interesting that they're pulling information from other conversations I've had. I don't like that. Give me something that will, for 8, that will link with specifically with the 3 ventures of the starter sets and essentials kit you pulled from my homebrew world from another conversation. Please do not pull from other conversations. Only from what information comes from the starter sets and essentials kit. They also did one for the Stormbringer gang. Come on, guys. Now you're ripping me off. Just give me a new list of 10. Make sure it stays true specifically to Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, Lost Mines of Vandelver, and Dragon of Ice Spire Peak. Do not use any other information from any other conversation we had in other tabs. Keep only to these 3 adventures. All right, so what I'm going to have to do at a later time is I'm probably just going to go through all the ones that they did and come up with my own list of 10, weeding out the problems. All right, that's good. That's a bit better. I'm a little surprised that they're now starting to use things from like previous conversations and other tabs. That's a little concerning to me. But you know what? What do you do? GPT needs to really think on what they're doing here. So I'll do that. I think that's stuff that I'm going to go ahead and do later. But I think that this is a time when I'm going to end this live stream. And I will be back later potentially. I might see if some friends want to play games. We'll see. But I know that nobody's here, but if you're watching the VOD, thank you for joining Familiar Evils today. And I hope that this helped. I hope that you get to see a bit of my brain when it comes to preparing an adventure. There will be some specific videos on all this kind of stuff. But you have a wonderful new year. If you don't join me for my next video, or otherwise. So, this is Familiar